Moving on to our next game. This is Backgammon. We've already seen about 5 or 6 backgammon games, and that's not the last. We'll see lots of backgammon. This is Atari's chance to play backgammon. I didn't know even Atari had backgammon on the home system. Here's the box for Backgammon. Again, the artwork is beautiful. Love it. I mean, it's so detailed that it makes you want to play backgammon. And it looks like this comes with 2 games, Backgammon and AC-Deucey. There's the back of the box. This one's programmed by the Atari paddle controllers, the one that twists left and right. And games 1 through 4 are Backgammon, 5 through 8 are AC-Deucey. And we played a version of AC-Deucey on the channel before. And there's the example of the cartridge for Backgammon. All right, so let's see what the manual's like. Yeah, here's the manual for Backgammon. All the Atari manuals use the same artwork from the front of the box. And they are the best manuals we've seen for any home system. So when you went home, I still recommend home Atari. If we went back in time, begging my mom for a home system, I'd say Atari, because they have everything you need. There it explains the paddle controls, and then this explains what Backgammon is. If you're not familiar, we played several games with Backgammon, but not a full game, because Backgammon's another board game that you could play without a video game. So we want to see how they translate it in the video world. There's the example of the screen. Atari always explains what everything is, which is so helpful. When you boot up an Atari game, there's numbers and colors and pixels all over. You don't really know what is what. So very helpful that they give you what you see on the screen and then how to play. So we're just going to boot it up and take a look. We have different versions. Looks like it's just European version, but we're going to play the North American version. This is June 1979, playing Backgammon on your Atari 2600. When Atari first boots up, nothing happens till we hit reset. We're playing game 1, so I'm going to hit the reset button on our console, and then we have the dice roll that we do first. We're using the paddle, so we're sliding the paddle back and forth. And the way Backgammon works, you just take all your pieces, you're trying to move them around the board and get all your pieces off the board before the opponent. And this is the very first Backgammon game, a video game we played with a computer. The other times we played, we had to have another person that was playing with us. But this one has a computer programmed in for us. Nicely done, Atari. Not going to do too much since it's a board game that you could play with your friends without a video game. But done very well. So Backgammon on the Atari, and because it had different game modes, we'll go ahead and give this 3 stars, which is very average for the time. Looking good for Atari. All right, moving on to our next game. This is Android NIM for the Commodore PET. And we've already seen this on another home computer. This is another example of it. This is, the other one we saw was on the TRS-80. So if you want to play the Android NIM on your Commodore PET because you didn't have the other home computer, you can do this one. It's a math game where you're supposed to take certain things away and be the last person to take the last one. So you have to do a little math in your head. But very standard for the time. We're going to give it 3 stars. Won't even boot this one up because we've seen this before, or at least Android NIM. It's the same thing on the TRS-80. All right, moving on to our next game. It is still with home computers. This is Blitzkrieg on the Apple II. Blitzkrieg. Let's see if we got any artwork. There is the box, if you want to call it a box, is just the cassette tape, which they played for the Apple II. And any other information? Nope, that's it. Not a lot there. No manual for it, so we're going to have to wing it. It is July 1979. We're playing Blitzkrieg on the Apple II. Playing every video game. So first thing it starts with is information, because this is not controlled with a joystick yet. They did have some, but most of these games are only keyboard. So it tells you what controls you want to do. So here we go. Paddle. Oh, there we go. Nice. We can control it with a paddle or the keyboard. I'll do keyboard for this one. So pushing 1 on the screen. Okay, so it looks like I do... Did it tell me how to shoot? It did not. So now I'm just pushing every button on the keyboard to see if it controls and shoots the gun. I'm trying to hit the obvious keys, but the majority of them are not letting me shoot. But Blitzkrieg is a shooter game where you have the gun on the bottom left corner. Let me try this one again by going to the opening screen. So I'm going to switch myself to this side so you'll be able to see the gun at least. So this is July 1979. This is Blitzkrieg on the Apple II, your home computer. Most home computer games we've seen have been nothing but, oh, there we go. So have been nothing but text games. So this is has some action to it, but it looks like, oh, here we go. It's U, D, and F, and then up and down to fire. So here we go. Let's try this again. U, D, and F. Yeah, there we go. So I can move the gun around and then up and down to fire. Up and down. It looks like it's the button I'm looking for to fire isn't working, but you just aim the gun up and down and you're just trying to shoot the bullets and hit the objects across the screen. I'd say even for that time, that's pretty lame for a computer game. So while it does function, it does have, you can see on the screen in the background that it's shooting an arc. I'm still going to go ahead and give this one 2 stars. Not really it's the best of the bad for home computer at the time. Very simple.